So I spent 3 days at the ITB in Berlin. Today I'm leaving, and I want to give you my perspective from a crypto guy, crypto and travel guy, and of course AI, because everybody's talking about AI. What I try to understand is that how many people really understand AI, and I have to say I'm a bit surprised. People really went into this thing. Many people know what they're talking about. There's of course different levels of knowledge, but in general, the industry seems to have moved into AI a lot. I could spend time talking to people who really knew what we were talking about. Of course, there are different levels. There's people who have done lots of ChatGPT, and there are on the other end people who have implemented AI in the depth of their processes and everything in between, of course. Now, what seems to be a common pain, and this is my pain too, is how to actually implement it. Now, my own pain is different because I don't really have a product. I don't really have a specific thing I want to do. I just want to learn, and I'm spending my day in basically trying stuff. When there's something interesting, I do it, no matter if it's gonna work or not. So I'm more like in the experimental phase. But companies have real problems in the sense that they have processes, they have products. So if they find a way to use AI and to leverage it to make their business better, they will do it. And they seem to struggle to. And how to solve that, I don't really know. But one thing I can suggest to everyone, if you are still in the, ChatGPT or Claude AI chat interface, it's to move away from that, or leave it, because I still use it too, but to go to the next level. The next level is installing Claude Code in your computer, or Codex is the same thing. And this is what really I've seen people unlocking the power of AI, much more than only the chat. And while it may be scary, because this has to be done in the terminal, you're going to work from an interface which is conceived for people clicking buttons and fields and checkboxes, etc., to a line. And terminal is always been very scary for people because we associate the terminal with very precise commands. So if terminal means like black screen with a green text, or the colors don't matter, but like just a black screen with text. And unless you write PYP run, the exact command, even if you make a small mistake with a dot, nothing works. And that's why people are scared of CLIs. This is command lines. Once you install Claude, that completely switches the problem. It changes completely. It goes from CLIs are difficult, terminals are difficult, and UXs, UIs, like front ends are easy, or at least easier. We still have to spend time in understanding front ends. It flips it to the easiest thing you can imagine is writing in a CLI. Why? Because you're just writing something to Claude. Hello, Claude, that's my business. This is me. Look at my LinkedIn. Look at the website of my company. I have no idea how to implement AI. I've been playing with ChatGPT. It's very useful. What can I do more than that? And then Claude answers to you. And that's where the miracle happens, because Claude is going to start a conversation with you. Again, I say Claude, could be Codex, it doesn't matter. I prefer Claude, but it's personal taste. It starts having a conversation with you. And in this conversation, if you are both involved and honest about things, at a certain point, it's going to tell you, look, I see this process you're doing manually. You told me it takes an hour per week. Why don't we automate this? And you say, yeah, okay, how do we automate this? And it starts developing a script /app /whatever. Start developing something in your computer. I failed to mention that the difference with ChatGPT is that you give Claude one folder in your computer. In that folder, you put the problems you need to be solved, right? And then he starts building an app inside that folder. And that app could be as easy as translating an Excel file into a dashboard. And not only giving you a better look at the Excel file, but also surfacing interactions, surfacing connections between data, telling you things you haven't seen because you are staring at rows and columns. And now you have a dashboard, and the dashboard is dynamic. And you can tell Claude, all right, I like this dashboard. Why don't you make a daily check on the data I'm gonna update automatically? And you tell me when you see an opportunity, where you see dangers, etc., etc. And that's the basic thing. And I suggest to start with this one, because you will understand the difference between looking at rows and columns and looking at the dashboard, dynamic, with visualizations, right? And if this clicks for you, I promise you won't stop using that thing anymore. You will just get deeper and deeper. You start spending 20 euro a month, and then you're gonna say it's not enough. I have to go to the 90 euro a month thing because I need more tokens. And you're gonna be hooked into the personalized agentic AI for your own processes. That's for your process. Next step, probably you're gonna find ways to do in your company, right? But again, the next step, if you are a ChatGPT person or a Claude person, you need to install Claude Code. It's scary at the beginning. You have to go in a terminal. You have to put a very precise instruction, which you copy paste from Claude Code website. It's gonna do weird things. It's gonna look funny, but once you're in, once you are on the other side and you start talking to this intelligence in your laptop, then things could really click. If you don't want to spend money for Anthropic, go on Claude. If you have ChatGPT already, you can install Codex. I've seen that Codex is not friendly on Windows, so if you have Mac, okay. Otherwise, just use Claude Code, which is easier. That's what I suggest as a first step. Not many people have done this. Even people who know AI, not many have done it. And again, in my personal, experience, that's when it clicks. And when I mean personal experience, I mean what I've seen other people do and what clicked for them. It clicked for me differently and before that, but that's the next thing you should do. Claude Code, install it in your laptop, decide a folder, put some stuff in it, and don't try to think, what can I do with this? And try to be clever. Admit that you don't know what to do, but you can ask. So you ask Claude, what can we do? And then let me know how it goes. I've seen companies being transformed completely by going through this step, okay? Now, another thing I noticed is that, we knew it already, but I had confirmation here and there, is that there's a new small problem economy rising. What is a small problem economy? Well, before, a software would be built if there was a critical mass of potential customers. So you have an idea, it doesn't need, I'm not even talking about AI apps, any kind of app, right? You had an idea for an app which could solve a problem, you go to investors, and investors say, good, what's the TAM? What's the total addressable market? If it's big enough, I'm going to invest. If it's not big enough, who cares? I don't want to make 2x, I want to make 10x. That's how investments work. Or you could do this yourself, bootstrap it and say, okay, I'm going to do it myself, but then you still need lots of money to reach a certain amount of people to make it worthwhile. And there are apps which are made like this. Now, the new small problem economy which is rising is an economy where the problem is really small. Maybe it's only yours, okay? Would you have ever built, sorry for the complex English here, would you have ever built an app only for yourself if you cannot code? No, because you would have to pay, $10,000 to a developer and spend lots of time on it. If you are a developer, maybe yes, but then if you are a developer, even the small things still take time. So you have a long list of to-dos, of things you would like to do but you never did because it's still too much time. Now AI has completely flattened the cost of code. You can build an app to fix a scratch on your S, a small thing. right? A really small thing, which you say, okay, these things bothers me, but I can't spend 10,000 euros. I cannot spend 2 weeks. Would you spend an hour? Yeah, I could spend an hour. You spend an hour and you do it with Claude Code and it takes you maybe half an hour, maybe 2 hours. I don't know. Maybe you can't. It depends, right? But what if it's solvable in 1 hour and it saves you every week an hour for the next years? It's worth it, right? So the ROI, the return on investment, completely changed because before the cost was very high. Now the cost is very low. It's like, would you have you sent like 20 letters with stamps in the past to chat with someone when the letter will cost you €1 each time and it takes a week go and week back? No. Would you do that on a WhatsApp message with a friend? Yeah, because the cost is zero and the time to do it is basically zero, right? Same thing with software. You can come up with solutions to your problems which take you half an hour to build, an hour to build. You are a builder. You don't know it yet, but you are a builder because you possess a brain. You possess a brain, you possess voice, or you possess hands. And again, don't use hands anymore. Sorry for the side thing. Do not use hands anymore too much. Download, buy a service like Whisperflow or something like this. These AI dictation systems, they're very good now. I basically do 80% of my writing into AI with my voice. I can say more things and it's much faster. Anyway, so you are a builder. You don't know yet. Again, go back to Claude Code, install it, and you will see that you are a builder even if you didn't know it. So the small problem economy are apps which maybe solve the problem not for 1 million people, but for 1,000 people or 10,000 people. And it takes very little time to build. So we're going to see many of them. And what really changes is that before the idea came from, I don't know, the idea guy had to go to the developer and then they had to communicate and then they had to go to the investor. And by the time this idea was solved, many people had discussed it. Now the idea guy, the operational guy, the person who does things and needs things, can do it by itself, right? And that changes everything. We're gonna see many non-developers come up with with apps for travel, and some of them are gonna be built for their own needs, but then they're gonna be open to others, and maybe 1,000 people will use them or 10,000. Not many people, right? But we'll see them. So, yeah, I don't know. It's always hard to really understand and guess how this is going to really look, but expect lots of small apps coming up. Many of them will be useless. Many of them, maybe you see the idea, you try it, and you say, you know what, I'm going to build it myself. So you go to Claude Code and say, see this app, do it for myself slightly differently. And it does it for you. Okay. So that's going to change a little bit how we work. I mean, I said a little bit, but that's going to change how we work a lot. Another point which I noticed is that how agents may become the new interface for travel operators, meaning that you have to think like software, all the software you've been using so far gets an input, transforms the input in a deterministic manner, so always the same, and gives you an output. And it needs precise input and it gives you precise output. Fuzziness is not part of the deal. Not very precise problems are not part of the deal, okay? Agents give you much more flexibility here. Now, for instance, I am going to launch an agent, again, experimental, an agent which has only one job at the beginning, which is to negotiate hotel prices for me. So before I book into Booking, and I'm still booking into Booking.com. Recently I moved to Trip.com. I find it a bit cheaper sometimes. And I go there because I don't want to get bogged down in negotiating a €10 discount or a free breakfast with a hotel. So I'm ready to pay a bit more on Booking.com or an OTA just because I don't have time for this. And I don't have patience for this. So what if this agent I'm building does the job for you? So what I plan to do for myself first is to go to I have to go out to a place. I look for a place on an OTA. I see a hotel for 150 a night. without breakfast. And I'm ready to book. I'm happy with that, right? I open my agent and say, that's what I'm booking. Go and negotiate something better for me. And the agent is going to do that. Maybe it will come back with a better price. Maybe you're going to come back with a free breakfast. Let's say it comes back with a free breakfast, which is worth what, 20 euros today? Okay. Was it worth it? Well, it's not worth it if I had to negotiate myself and maybe, even don't book on time. But it's worth it if my extra effort is literally writing, negotiate a better price for me to my agent and wait a couple of days. And that cost me maybe, 20 cents in tokens, maybe 10, maybe, it depends on the LLM I'm gonna use. So that's one thing my agent will do, right? Many agents will do these small things for people, and small things at scale are not small things anymore, right? I have many ideas. I want to share them with you right now. They are very fresh, and this is not in this video. I'm not here to do this. Maybe next time. But we can expect many agents doing many little tasks which we either don't do or we do spending too much time. You can think about this. Now, the thing is, everybody thinks, so people say agents will do everything. When you start actually doing these things, you see that they're not there yet for many of those tasks. It's really task dependent. Like the famous OpenClaw, it's fantastic. If you read things on LinkedIn or on X, it's not the same as you do them. So I've been into OpenClaw a lot. I've been into Eliza from last year, which is like OpenClaw, but it just wasn't that lucky. Maybe got in a bit too early. Those things work. They do miracles, but they don't work perfectly. Often, just to give you one example, OpenClaw often is not able to do two things at the same time. Meaning, do this for me. And it replies to you, okay, I will do this for you. And it stops. Why? Because it hasn't a mechanism to do two things, like do one thing and then start and do another thing. Claude will do that. Claude is a super agent. It's great. It's great. If you can use Claude for those things, it's much better than OpenClaw, right? Even better than OpenClaw using Claude Opus 4.6, because the harness, what they call this, the thing around the agent, what makes an agent is the ability to call tools. To make, calling a tool is like make a search on the web, look at this website, create this interface, etc., etc. So the only way to do that is to actually start building those agents and understand the limitations and the possibilities. So if you ask me, what can an agent do? I say, I don't know. I'm going to figure out right now. So my mission now is to create agents which do stuff on the travel space. You could call it a travel agent and tries to be helpful to anyone possible in any situation, etc. And doing that, I will find out what actually is a solution and what is not yet solved, right? Knowing that, and that's one of the extra difficulties we have in this space, is that by 6 months from now, maybe everything has been solved. The speed this thing has improved is incredible. So where are we going to be 6 months from now? Who knows? Maybe everything we are experimenting today is totally useless. Maybe it's better to wait 6 months and see when they are ready. I don't know. Then fourth and not last point. There are 5 points, but it's payments. I wrote the guide about stablecoins to figure out how stablecoins will be used in the travel industry. Again, I wrote it because I know a lot of crypto and stablecoins. I don't know much about payments. And I had the chance to see a couple of panels and presentations about payments at the e-travel stage at the ITB. I still confirm I don't understand. I realize even more how little I understand about payments. What I learned is that nobody's talking about stablecoins. Right? Stripe purchased Bridge for $1 billion. They don't even know it. Payment companies, CEOs, Stripe is a big company in payments. In travel too, they had a very big stand, maybe the biggest stand for payments, bigger than Revolut, bigger than others, right? They don't even know. People in CEOs of other companies don't know that Stripe acquired for $1 billion Bridge. Maybe they think, or maybe they're right, $1 billion is nothing for Stripe, so why should I care? I went to Stripe. I said, can you tell me about the bridge acquisition? Can you tell me about, how it's been implemented? They didn't even know. They knew about bridge. They knew that it's been acquired. They didn't know. They said that the crypto guy is in California. You have to talk to him. Revolut recently did two things in the crypto space. One is they defined that one stable coin for $1 is always worth $1. You know that one stable coin is never worth $1 exactly. It's worth 0.9999 or 1.0001, whatever. It fluctuates a little bit, which is a nightmare from the point of view of accountants. And they said, no, our USD is always $1. So we absorb this difference. That's one thing. The second thing is Revolut for crypto is experimenting with agents which do trading, etc. So Revolut is there. I went there, Revolut business stand, they had no idea, nothing. So in these big companies, crypto is still behind the scenes, it's still not centered. So I haven't learned anything apart from the fact that whatever is happening objectively behind the scenes, it hasn't reached yet the travel part, which is always, kind of slow. So maybe to close this, if you are in the travel industry and if you are interested in AI, and how can you not be interested in AI? Seriously, what should you do? Don't read more LinkedIn posts, don't read more X posts, don't listen to more podcasts, or do those things, but you really need to get your hands dirty. And this time, I've always been saying, get your hands dirty, especially in crypto, but then it wasn't really something useful, right? I mean, learning is always useful, but at the practical level, still today, crypto hasn't yet created massive changes. It will, all right? Especially with AI, but that's another discussion. Get your hands dirty with AI because you may be on the verge of solving your own little problems. Oh, why do I say little? You may be on the verge of solving your own problems in your own personal processes. And if you do that, you have a feedback loop. Don't try to solve the problem with your company. Don't try to solve problems with other people because you have no feedback loop. You do it, and then before you get the real feedback, it takes forever. Your own problem. Whatever you're doing every day, again, I'm going to close as I started. You install Claude Code, you pay $20 or €20 a month. You install it in a folder, you put a few things. Don't install it on the root, like on the desktop or whatever. Don't install it on C. Don't give it access to everything on your computer. Actually, if you have a Mac or even a Windows, I suppose you can do a new account and separate completely things because these things are very good at going out of their space and start touching your computer around. Not as dangerous as OpenAI could be, but it's still dangerous, especially if you have sensitive stuff there. Open a new account, install Claude Code, pay for it, put some stuff in it, and say, first of all, tell it what you do, who you are, etc. Put some documents, Excel files, docs, whatever, and say, can you help me with this stuff? What can we do together? And last thing, don't ask Claude only. Ask Claude to ask you questions. Ask Claude to ask you questions. Say, Claude, let's do this. I am doing this job. This is me. That's what I do. These are a few files I work with. Can you start asking me questions so you can qualify my needs? All right? And you will be amazed. I can promise that. Okay, that's it from ITB. Let me know if this was useful. Let me know if you went ahead with Claude Code, and let me know how it went. Thank you, and see you next time.